Cubs are heading to play the Dodgers next month in the Tokyo series, and they could be without two of what we would consider their starting infielders. We're going to get into that. Kyle Tucker made his Cubs debut yesterday. Finally saw him in action. Anthony Rizzo trying to find a team, but the Cubs legend is struggling there. The Cardinals could be trading a future Hall of Famer and Pete Crow-Armstrong with another strong spring training haircut. We're going to get into all that right here on the Cubs baseball channel. Great to have you guys with us today. No clickbait, just Cubs talk. Let's go. Hey everybody, Mick Gillespie. Great to talk to you today here on the Cubs baseball channel. And boy, this is the most exciting time of the year. At Broadcaster Mick on the socials. Love to hear from you guys there as we talk some baseball here today. And this channel is all about basically talking the Cubs. I'm going to tell you exactly what I think. So maybe you'll agree, maybe you disagree. Get in the comments section. Had a guy say that yesterday's show was clickbait. Come on, man. Come on. All we're doing is coming at you every day with some content. So you must be new to the channel. Been a Cubs fan since Rhino was playing second and Jody Davis was behind the plate and Redbeard was on the mound. So don't sit here and tell me about clickbait, man. All right, let's get into some stuff that's not clickbait. I promise you, watching Marquee yesterday and listening to Jed Hoyer on the broadcast, got the idea. He didn't really mince words that Nico Heorner and Matt Shaw probably aren't going to play. I would count them out for that Tokyo series in March. And he was like, look, if they're not ready, we're not going to push them. Basically, you really got the vibe that both of these guys are not going to play. And look, they're not in games yet. You're starting to see, and we saw it in yesterday's game, where guys are already getting extra at-bats, and he said that, hey, we would probably do 2, but now we're doing 3 because we got to get ready for the Tokyo series. Nico still trying to get that arm right. Shaw, dealing with the oblique, expecting him at some point this week to start getting moving. But my feel is that neither one of these guys is going to be there. So you're not going to have your starter at second base for those 2 games, right? And then you look and you go, well, probably not going to have the guy that we figured would be the starter at third base. So the Cubs, they went out, they got utility man John Birdie, expect him to play. Adel Brujan, another guy that they seem to really like, who, they got as well, another utility guy. So they could cover those 2 spots, right? You got Justin Turner, and you could put him at first if you had to. Michael Busch has played third and second, although it feels like he's really the Cubs starting first baseman, and that's pretty much where he's going to be. And then what about Gage Workman? I mean, could Gage Workman make the team for these 2 games? Could he make his debut? I think he could. Look, he's still on the 40-man roster. You're going to have 2 guys that aren't going to be there because obviously they're not going to be able to play. So, he's kind of a wild card here to make this team. Now, some other guys that you're looking at, that might be saying, hey, man, I might be able to get a couple games in for them because of injuries. Could be, it could be the 2 guys that they just signed in the outfield. I'm not saying they need a lot of outfield help, but Jankowski could be one, former Ranger, won a World Series. And then Allen, he made his debut in the game yesterday, got a hit, the former Yankee. So maybe one of those 2 guys. I don't know. I feel like I feel like those guys, even though they're veterans, are long shots because you need 2 infielders. You don't need 2 outfielders. But those guys are in camp to try to make the team because they see an opportunity there. How about this? We got to see Kyle Tucker in a Cubs uniform for the first time. Hit the ball hard, didn't have much to show for it, but it was definitely telling to see him in the Cubs blue and red, kind of just getting his feet wet as a member of the Cubs. And you're with the Astros and you're in spring training, No one cares that you're in spring training. No one's there watching your team. It's quiet, unless you're playing the Yankees or the Red Sox. The Astros don't have a huge fan base. Guess what? He's at Sloan Park, sell out, great weather, welcome to Arizona, and enjoy being a Cub. That's overwhelming. They interviewed Ryan Presley on the broadcast, and I could tell, like, it's like looking around, like, first time in Arizona, and I'm with the Cubs, and everybody's here because we care. Got the best fans. Those guys are going to love being members of the Cubs. So it was cool to see him out there. Great swing. I didn't realize that he and Nico Heorner played on Team USA together back in the day, and now they're teammates again. So pretty cool. He's a guy that the Cubs really need this year. And he's going to have to step up big. I still feel like Dansby Swanson is the most important member of this team. He's the guy that paid to be the most important guy. He's the leader of the team because of that, and also because of his leadership ability. But he's got to hit. Hopefully he's healthy. Some of you guys feel like last year there was a drop-off because of I guess it was like a knee injury, or, then he obviously had the surgery at the end of the year for something else. But he's got to step up big. This could be the second guy behind him, in my opinion, that could determine whether the Cubs make the playoffs or not. So cool to see Kyle Tucker in a Cubs uniform. Now, from a guy that's there now to a guy that was there, that we still love, and that's Anthony Rizzo. And all of a sudden, Riz is having a tough time finding a home. Now, he is 35 years old, and he was a star on the Cubs 2016 World Series championship team. He was with the Yankees, but the Yankees, instead of picking up his $17 million club option, bought him out for $6 million. And then he hasn't found any team that is willing to pay him what he feels like his value is. So he's sitting on the sideline right now, and he could be contemplating retiring. He's saying that he's definitely thinking about retiring because the market's not there. Last year, he had the concussion issues. He's always dealt with the back issues. He's a 3-time All-Star, hit 244 in 99 games. That was not a great year for him, and that was in 23. And then last year, to even make it worse, he hit 228 and 8 home runs in 35 games. But, with that said, I mean, he came on in the playoffs. He hit 267 in those 10 games, and he's always been a great defender. I thought that there was a possibility that a guy that had a lifetime 261 average and over 300 career home runs and one of the greatest Cubs of all time might get a shot, as a backup guy, but they signed Justin Turner. So that really takes Rizzo out of it. And if you would have told me that Turner couldn't play third base, and I would have said, well, maybe, Rizzo, I mean, it'd be good for the money, but he's left-handed batting. Maybe they wanted a righty. I don't know, but he's not going to take the league minimum. And he's, he feels like he's more valuable than that. So we'll see, but this could be the end of Rizzo. And who would have thought that in 2025 that Rizzo, Bryant, and Baez would be like non-factors? So we hang our hat on Kyle Schwarber, kind of, to me, the fourth guy of that crew. Anyway, who knows? He'll be around the game, I feel like, but not with the Cubs this year. And who knows where he might get another opportunity if it ever comes. He could be pricing himself out, though. Maybe he needs to take the league minimum and just play somewhere, put some numbers up, and then, maybe he'll get paid more. There's rumors right now that the Cardinals could trade Nolan Arenado to the Astros. Wouldn't this be something? I would really be surprised if this happened, but once again, they didn't want to pay Alex Bregman, or maybe they did and he didn't take the offer, and then they didn't really pursue it after that. The Cardinals aren't going to trade him to the Cubs. Apparently the Cubs tried to kick the tires on a deal, according to some reports, but the Cardinals and Cubs aren't going to do deals like this, right? Now, maybe he goes to the Astros and then they swing him to the Cubs. Who knows? But the rumors are out there now that Arenado could go to the Astros. He's one of the most decorated defensive third basemen in baseball since the great Brooks Robinson. He is on a Cardinals team that had the exact same record as the Cubs last year, spent a bunch of money on veterans. They've been trying to unload those contracts. It looked like he might get swung to The Red Sox, that deal didn't get done, and they ended up with Bregman. So we'll see. I'm curious. What does that mean for Isaac Paredes? Does that mean he goes to second base and Altuve moves to left field? Or would that be the guy that the Cardinals get back? Could the guy be traded again? Can you go from Tampa Bay to the Cubs to the Astros to the Cardinals? I mean, that would be an offseason. And then finally, last year we kept talking about this guy's haircut. Last year, it was just he dyed his hair blue. And he showed up to spring training, and it looked like, hey, this guy might have a chance to make the team. And remember, he didn't make the team out of spring training. But then he got there, and he had a pretty good year. But, the beginning of the season with the blue hair wasn't great. And I said, I hope he doesn't change anything because I love the way that Hollywood Pete does his business. So this year, hey, man, I'm going blue stars. And I love it. Look, man, if you're going to do it, double down and stick to it. And that's exactly what Pete Crow-Armstrong's doing with the haircut. So I'm a fan. I'm giving him 2 thumbs up. If the Cubs win the World Series, I'll do the same thing with my hair. I'll dye my hair and put the stars in there for you. And maybe some of you guys will join me as well. But I love this guy. I love the way that he plays the game, the intensity. He's a really intelligent base runner. You'll see that. I think some of you guys started to see that towards the end of last year. He's a special talent, and he's fun. And that's what it's supposed to be. He's entertaining. Anyway, love the haircut. Thanks for hanging out on the show, guys. Again, we'll be watching. Cubs are doing their thing, getting closer and closer to a showdown for real with the Dodgers. And spring training games are rolling along, which to me is just crazy because it is so early this year. But the Cubs will take on the Padres at 2:10 Central Time, and that'll be in Peoria. They'll be in Peoria for that game. So we'll be keeping an eye on that and see what happens. But it's been fun. I don't expect that the Cubs will send too many of the starters, but you never know. I mean, with the start of the regular season so early with those 2 games, a lot of these times they send it to the west side of the valley. They don't send their best guys, but everybody's looking for at-bats right now to get ready for the start of the season. Thanks for hanging out. Like, subscribe, thumbs up. We'll do it again tomorrow. No clickbait, no matter what that guy wrote at me. No clickbait, just Cubs talk. Hey, and prayers to Ronnie, the one of the best Cubs fans ever. I love the guy. Woo! I know he's been dealing with some health issues, but we love him. So Ronnie, we're thinking about you, brother, and praying for you too, man. Everybody loves you, and you're going to get better soon. And I can't wait to go back to Wrigley and hear the woos.